Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Sunday morning to you. Coach Burt out on a good bike ride. Love getting out and letting my mind just run wild. And I'm thinking about two things I want to share with you this morning. What's the difference between a business resume and a life resume? Because tomorrow I'm flying to New York City and I'm doing a 3-day boot camp on Person of Interest, a book I wrote many years ago. And I wrote it from an aspirational standpoint, like one day I want to be a person that's in high demand. One day I want to be a person that has so much opportunity I get to pick and choose which opportunities I take and which opportunities I don't. One day I want my phones ringing, my schedule booked. One day I want to be the buyer versus the seller and create something so valuable. One day I want to be in the transformation business where people are so moved and affected by what we do for them and get them to a better state in their life that they go and tell other people. One day I'm going to become a person of interest. And when I become a person of interest, all of those things are going to happen, because people of interest, they have life resumes, not just business resumes. They are creating, they're living fascinating lives. They're going to fascinating places. They're hanging around fascinating people. They're doing fascinating things. They're probably making fascinating money. They're having some type of fascinating impact in the world. And teaching this course over the next couple of days with just a small group of people that are flying with me private to New York City. It's an all-inclusive event. We're staying at the Muse Hotel. We're going up to the Mohonk Mountain Resort on Wednesday. We're going to great restaurants. We're going to be hanging out with Hank Norman and Steve Carlos, who have been some media coaches for me in New York City. And I said, man, one day. But to precede this, I really wrote Person of Interest too early. See, I'm coming out with a book this coming week, October the 11th, called Inside the Mind of a Monster. And it really takes you inside the mindset and the mental and emotional toughness of a big-time monster producer. And I show you, this is how a monster expects a day to go. This is how a monster, bounces back from adversity. This is how a monster stays on offense versus defense. This is how a monster handles when they lose a deal, when they lose an employee, when they lose a partnership, when they lose something. This is how a monster comes into the day, man. And I really should have wrote that book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, before I wrote Person of Interest, because you do have to go inside the mind of a monster to become a person of interest. You see, I say that people of interest have these characteristics. They've got incredible knowledge of a very specific thing, a problem they can solve. They've got impeccable skills. They got a relentless desire. They've got incredible contagious confidence. They've got deep and entrenched networks. They've got high likability. They're intense, but they're positive. They've got high connectivity. People of interest have ingredients, right? But when I wrote that book, I was like, man, this is what I'm going to capture over the next 5 to 10 years. So I was thinking ahead, and I'm so glad I wrote the book, because we're going to be breaking that down for big-time entrepreneurs over the next couple of days up in New York City. But I want to finish this with this concept. People of interest have life resumes. When you look at the body of their work and the life that they lived, you're like, dang, man, that dude lives an interesting life. He gets to go wake up every day in his sweet spot. And he gets to thrive in an area that he loves, that he's passionate about, that his conscience is telling him to do, that the world is paying him economically. Man, I want to become one of those. Well, to become one of those people of interest, we got to have life resumes. We got to do interesting things, go to interesting places, hang around interesting people. We can't live static lives. We can't just wake up and do the same old thing. We got to wake up and do something different. We can't repeat what we did last week. We got to recreate. And that's what Sundays are about, guys. So hope you pick up a copy of the book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. I'm going to be covering this month in Monster Producer. I'm doing 2 full days of training that are free to you if you'd like to check it out. Thursday and Friday. Go to coachburt.com/calendar. Click on 2-day burst. I'm going to give you access to 4 trainings in 2 days with me. Just come check it out, man. No obligation. But I'm going to take you inside the mind of a big-time monster producer. And I'm going to show you how they think, how they respond, how they act, and more important, I'm going to show you how they leverage. How do they leverage decade 1 into decade 2 into decade 3? That's what I'm going to be covering, okay? Life resumes versus business resumes. That's what a person of interest does.